Okay, all right. So I did a video like about 10 minutes ago on my phone, and then the phone kept skipping, and there was some pretty good information that I didn't want to skip. So I'm going to do another one, kind of along the same lines. But I want to go over this, okay? So there are those of you who still will put out memes and pictures from like the different holistic allopathic sites that say, oh yeah, uh, carrots will strengthen your eyes, and this type of fruit or vegetable will strengthen parts of your body. And so really the fruits and vegetables are a direct correlation to what's going to strengthen in your body, like your organs and then your skin and all of that. And I'm going to say on a weak body, it's not going to make a difference what those fruits and vegetables are claiming to be strong in. It's not going to make a difference on a weak body. So you guys that are not promoting J juice, but you're promoting all of the holistic and the allopathic fruits and vegetable strength memes, it's not going to translate. So you on the J juice who are strengthening your body will be able to derive benefit, the nutrition from the food supply. And it won't be just uh, um, carrots, hey Patricia, or just cabbage, which I'm eating right now. And this is my part of my diverse food supply. It's just not going to be those specific things. You'll be able to derive benefit from processed foods, from meat, from milk, from your vegetables, your fruits. And how I kind of notice this is because the fact that now that I'm basically well balanced and I'm eliminating exactly what I'm bringing in the day prior, I'm always hungry every morning to feed my body. And so what has given me the satisfaction, enough fuel to go throughout the day? It was the chicken nuggets. It's like the potatoes and the eggs. It is the cereal and the milk. It is salad. I mean, what else? Fish sticks. Okay. So I'm able to derive benefit because I have a very well balanced body. But those that are in the discriminatory world, okay, so where maybe you're just eating meat and that's it. Maybe you're just eating vegan and vegetarian and that's it. Well, that is a sign of a body that cannot handle the environment, and you are now playing the discrimination game because your body is breaking down to a point where it cannot handle certain aspects of your environment. You are not able to adapt correctly. And so what I found though here, so I've lived all over the US. I've seen the US all over the US. I've lived in Mississippi. I lived in Hawaii, Washington, California, Arizona. I said Hawaii already. And I visited different places, New York and all points in between, visited China and Canada. And I'm seeing now, as far as in Ohio, people here in Ohio and also Illinois, beautiful women here, big girls. I mean, these girls here are built like dudes and they will kick ass. My husband's family, they're awesome because, yeah, we didn't really get along a lot because of the biochemistry differences. But when you think about it, first of all, they're very like, they are forward thinking in relative to the environment. So they're pretty, I mean, I would give them credit that yes, that they're trying to maintain and they do pretty well, because I've seen other families where it's just like, oh my God, lost cause. No, this family does relatively okay considering everything that goes on in their society here. And so the women here are huge. They will kick ass. They don't take any shit. The men are like built like brick shit houses. My husband is like this brick shit house. I mean, he's on a milk, meat, a little bit of fruits and vegetables, processed food diet. Okay. And then I'm looking at my family. My family is like vegan and vegetarian. Everything's organic, and I'm not going to eat meat or milk or anything like that. And we're puny. My family is puny. Now, parts of my family aren't puny, but then they have sort of like the Midwestern New York type of lifestyle, but they also have imbalances. So you're seeing a lot of obesity in some parts of my family because the inability to process the foods in their environment. So they're not discriminating, but the body doesn't know how to process. So with their non-discrimination of foods, their body is accumulating all of this programming, they don't know how to release it. So now you're seeing obesity. But in my immediate family, the ones that live in California, for the most part, puny, puny. Most of the people that I grew up with in the Northern California Bay Area, puny, 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 or they're very obese. So they're either starving themselves because they're adopting this discriminatory attitude, or they're indiscriminatory and they can't handle and process their indiscrimination of the food. And I'm like, okay, so, California, you're behind a desk. I think some parts of the, like the guys that build the highways, the blue collar workers out there in California, the ones that build the roads, in construction, do like blue collar work, they eat the meat, they eat the milk. They're into the hunting, they're into the drinking, okay? And I mean, so do also the blue or the white collar guys too, but they're also very discriminatory in their food. And so you can see it in their bodies and their kids' bodies, very puny and very, very, very weak, can't really handle their environment, okay? So then you come here in Ohio, and we do have like a white collar community, but really they're more, they are white collar, but they're still pretty big. They're still kick-ass. There's not a lot of discrimination. Yes, we do have organic food stores here and there, but not as many as you have in California, I'll tell you that much. So, and then in Hawaii, they have like, the Spam and the taro. So all of this heavy, starchy, deep fried, which is great. I mean, it's fine. It's processed food, but their bodies that are not well balanced are not able to process the Spam and the processed food. So their genetics are accumulating all of this data that is not being released and processed correctly. So you see large amounts of obesity in Hawaii, in the Polynesian community. Okay, so over here in Ohio, yes, you see big burly women that kick ass men too, and then you see them, and they're building nations here. They're building, my God, they're like in hauling steel. Like I'm in my husband's company, some big burly dudes, even some skinny dudes, but they kick ass. And somebody like me from California wouldn't be able to do half of the crap that they do out here, but I wouldn't be able to do the blue collar work out there in California either. But here it's like blue collar eating so much, food, strong people. It's a dime a dozen out here. It's really a different atmosphere out here. I mean, this is culturally very different than what I grew up with, and why I like it so much too, because it is so different. But then also too, there's that biochemical conflict, which is why there was a lot of hard times me trying to transition and assimilate to my husband's family because of that biochemical difference. Okay, hopefully maybe down the road we'll find a happy medium. I can only hope, but it's going to take time if it even happens at all. I hope it does for my husband's sake, but it may not happen. I don't know. But there has been, some issues that kind of like really came to a head when Dr. Phil came out. Okay. So whatever, I'm not even gonna worry about that. But what I'm trying to say is that could we have Ohio and California, which are very extreme sides of the spectrum as far as their politics and food, could we have to where they can marry both, where they can actually, the vegans and vegetarians will then say, you know what, I'll eat cheese, I'll eat maybe a little bit of meat, okay? And because really when you think about it, that also translates into the strength, but also translates into intention. If we are a warring society, if we are in a society where we're building armies, well, you're not going to want to take on the people from California, the vegans and vegetarians. They would be a puny army. It would be like the Jin dynasty trying to go up against Genghis Khan and the Mongols. Genghis Khan and the Mongols ate meat, milk, and corn, starches, and fruits and vegetables. So they had a very diverse food supply, so it made them gave them endurance, and it made them stronger to be able to handle continuous fighting. The Jin dynasty, they're all based on a very vegan and vegetarian type lifestyle, eating like rice, and so they're having a high high energy for a minute, and then they crash since they don't have the endurance. So the Mongols kicked their ass, because the Mongols had a very diverse food supply. So not only were they strategic, because they figured out they knew about the art of war, they were strategic in their battle plans, and they had the endurance. We really need to learn something from the Mongols, from Genghis Khan. You should really study Genghis Khan. So that way you can be a strong nation and you can have endurance and be freaking smart at the same time. Right now we have Ohio Ohio's smart, but I'm trying to bring in this information, and some of the Ohioans here can't even adopt it because it's too advanced for their thought process. It's too much. But that would say the same thing in parts of California too. People in California, not everybody in California, like my parents, who are very advanced in their thought process, can't adopt this information. Okay, but yet but then it's just like there's exceptions to every rule. But here in Ohio, mostly, it's like, doing cabbage and kale and just doing only the chicken and the eggs, fruits and vegetables. Yeah, you could do meat, I guess, if you wanted to. But I'm trying to help you guys transition onto a new programming of your body to then eventually you can eat whatever you want. You could eat meat and milk. You can stay away from it. That's fine. You could do the vegan and vegetarian down the road. If your intention is not to go and fight wars and build bridges and, lift up highways. I mean, I'm being extreme there. But if your intention is to work behind a desk, then you can live off of J juice and a vegan and vegetarian diet because your lifestyle isn't requiring you to be that endurance, strong person with muscles and six packs that's able to throw steel on trucks every single day. But a guy who is like my husband, who throws steel every day on trucks, and he's my husband's bad fucking ass. My husband's badass. He needs the meat. He needs the milk. He needs the carbs. He needs all of the different processed foods because he has such a complex body that a person in California who sits behind a desk, or someone like me who sits behind a desk, doesn't necessarily need to have that kind of strength. However, you know what? I'm eating chicken nuggets. I'm eating processed food now. I'm eating, yes, raw cabbage as well. So I'm eating a bunch of stuff throughout the day, and my body's able to process it out of my body, any excess waste, and then I have to do the process all over again. But I can buy, some food, a little bit of food, and it would last a whole week for me because I'm not requiring to burn a bunch of calories. I basically sit at home, feed my dog, get on Facebook, talk to you guys, think up of equations that will then explain my protocol in mathematical terms. But if I was doing what my husband was doing, throwing steel and driving a truck and dealing with everybody in the public, I would need a lot more fuel. I would need to have meat and milk all the time and large amounts of food all the time to keep up with the demands of my requirements. Okay? So, if you are playing the discrimination game where you're demonizing meat and milk and you're demonizing elements like fluoride and mercury and uranium and all this stuff and 5G and all that stuff, then you're coming from a weak standpoint. You're coming from a weak body because you lived a life where your body is breaking down and your ability to be able to adapt has become narrower and narrower and narrower, and that is the aging process in our society. How many people that know someone that's old, really old, who has said, I can't eat this anymore, I can't do that anymore, I can't stay up past this time, I can't do that, I can't go to this place, I can't live in this climate. Like, they have so many things they cannot do. An old person has so many things they cannot do anymore because their body cannot handle and adapt to that environment. Yeah. When children grow up, they have every opportunity in the world afforded to them if they live in a relatively balanced, household. There are some kids that are born in households where it's just chaos right out of the gate. I feel bad for those kids because they don't stand a chance unless somebody comes in and intervenes. But if a kid is grows up in a relatively well-balanced household, they feel they can do anything until the parents who then project their own limitations onto that child and shape that child's whole outlook. So the kid has then his options and all of his opportunities narrowed and narrowed. And then, of course, the inability to adapt because of the weaknesses and the mutations they've inherited as well as taken on throughout their life has then made their opportunities and their adaptability become limited, and limited, and even to where it becomes narrow, to where now they're like an adult who is so crabby, who is so intolerant, so discriminatory, so pissed off at the world. And then now they are an older person with dementia. They can't handle anything. That's really people who have dementia, is a person who has gone through that process. What I want is a society to where you can have advanced thought processes and an advanced body, to where your body is strong enough that it can build railroads if it wants to. And it can be able to then foresee, hey, it doesn't have to be a railroad, it could be a hovercraft. But they're not limited to their antiquated programming from way past when. They're able to build their bodies and build the future in their mind, not stay stuck in old ideas and old ways. And I see that here in Ohio. People are stuck in their old ways, stuck in their old antiquated thought processes. But yeah, they have great bodies and they can throw steel, but they cannot even foresee that you can live indefinitely. But then over there in California, people may adopt this lifestyle, but then they're like, oh, you know, we can't have milk or meat because God forbid, you know, this or that. And so their bodies are becoming puny, but their minds are expanding, but their bodies are puny. Yeah, they may work out, but they're getting older, or they won't be able to fight any wars. Not that we should fight wars, but that's the whole reason why Genghis Khan kicked ass. Because Genghis Khan was well-rounded. Yeah, he was evil. He was an evil MFer. Some of the stories around Genghis Khan are like, holy crap, he did that. So he was a little medieval when it came to his enemies, but he was strong physically, and his brain worked like wow. I mean, to be able to create battle plans and lead armies of like 200,000 people, that is insane. That's a guy that is strong with not many mutations and can give no fucks. That's what we all should aspire to be, is Genghis Khan without the medieval crap. Okay. So can we have a combination of California Ohioans, where you have the California forethought and the Ohioan body? That would be awesome if we can have a mixture of Ohio, California. And that's what Jillian and Jason are, basically a mixture of Ohio and California. I don't know. Food for thought. All right, bye.